Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first Joe Pizza podcast. And what a podcast it will be. Today, Mike and I, Hunter, are gonna discuss E3 2018. It happened last week, and there were some pretty good releases. I think this was a pretty good E3. Would you have to agree, Mike?
Yeah, this is going to be a nice reaction, I feel, because when we were going into it, I feel like this is like the biggest surprise of, the year. A lot of people thought it was going to be known as the Battle Royale E3, came out of it being the Samurai E3. A lot of Samurai games coming out.
A lot of I guess you can say Soulsborne games too, I suppose. That's a way to put it.
Esque, yeah. The way we're going to be doing this is we want to look at EA, Ubisoft, Bethesda's, Microsoft, Sony's, and then Nintendo's conferences. So, obviously, we're starting with EA's conference. Anything that you thought was interesting from there?
So I want to first say I thought EA's was borderline funny. The first thing I want to start off with was, did you watch when they were revealing FIFA 19?
Yes, it was. They have a. It's pretty funny the enthusiasm these people have for the game. They know they're competing with other EA games like Star Wars, other IPs like Battlefield, and then they're going into like people are gonna be so psyched for these sports games, and I'm like, I get you have to do them, and that's fine, but you shouldn't set your high hopes on people being like excited for it. It was kind of cringy.
Yeah, I honestly kind of felt bad for them. So in case you guys don't know, during like a lot of the sports games, especially the FIFA announcement, the crowd was borderline dead silent when they revealed the game. It was really, really funny, but you had to feel bad because those people they really hyped up. Like they put like a lot of heart into the reveal, but I guess heart can only take you so far in certain things.
It's good to have enthusiasm, but it's not good to have that much. I thought a good game that looked really nice from EA. I'll start positive. Anthem looked pretty good. I was like pretty surprised by how like well it looks. I don't know. Personally, I look at some of the other games like Star Wars Battlefront 2 or Jedi Fallen Order. I'm like, it's EA. It's gonna be like a coin flip. Same with Anthem, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're saying it won't have loot boxes, but didn't they say the same thing about Star Wars Battlefront 2?
Yeah, the more they say there's not going to be loot boxes and like transactions in the game, the more I'm like, yeah, but there's going to be microtransactions and loot boxes. You can call it something else, but that's essentially what it was. There honestly wasn't too much special from EA. Kind of why I want to like talk about it first, because like maybe Battlefield 5 was like a lot of people were anticipating that because it's going to include a battle royale mode, but I was very underwhelmed. I came out of it cringing most of the time and like skipping through a lot of it because it was just nothing was coming at me like, hey, it's pretty good.
Another thing I saw, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm not a big like first-person shooter fan. I am like I guess a World War II history buff. So when I was looking at Battlefield 5, it was really weird how it looked like it was unscripted gameplay cutting to scripted cutscenes randomly and fluidly.
Yeah.
But like not in a this might sound like a positive thing, but it's kind of not. Like it seemed like it just made the whole entire thing look scripted.
Yeah, that's the folly of these conferences though. Like you can't like if they do a gameplay thing where like they play the game on there's been plenty of examples of like people either messing up or there being like a problem. The scripted thing makes sense because it's kind of like what you have to do. I mean, I don't like it myself, but at the end of the day, EA's conference as a whole is just borderline bad. Like,
Yeah.
it's
I wouldn't
it's hard.
say bad.
I would
It just
I would say that they had the hardest time coming out of this looking positive than any of the other ones.
that I definitely agree with you because they, especially last year, they were the villains, the like, the Lex Luthor of the gaming
Yeah.
industry last year.
Yeah.
um,
I
I
don't want to keep talking about EA too long because they just didn't have anything that was like particularly of note. They only like
yeah,
IP.
I wouldn't
What's up?
uh, I wouldn't say like you're calling them. I don't think like bad is a good word. I think it was just, I guess, underwhelming. Like they didn't hit us with any surprises, and that was the thing. What they showed was like okay, but it wasn't like
I guess it could have been
awful.
worse,
I guess, yeah.
but I don't know. Personally, like I know bad's a strong word, but it was pretty close to it. I can't say it wasn't close to being bad, but I do want to move on from EA because it's getting a lot more attention than I think it deserves. Uh, to the Ubisoft one, I actually really enjoyed the Ubisoft conference. I thought right off the bat, I've never played Beyond Good and Evil, but it looked pretty amazing. The second one,
Yeah.
it's like obviously we haven't seen any like in-game stuff, but it looks really good, really good.
I'm not gonna lie. This is the first time I've ever been excited for Assassin's Creed game since Black Flag. Honestly, like I think the new Assassin's Creed, like I know they come out with them like every like year or so. I think it more has to do with the setting why I'm like so hyped about it. But
Personally,
it honestly,
like I looked at the Assassin's Creed trailer and I was like, this is kind of like at this point, why are you calling it Assassin's Creed? Like you should just make it a new IP at this point. You're just insecure about what you're making. This isn't to me doesn't seem like an Assassin's Creed game. It seems like some sort of like adventure game. Same with like Origins, and plus it was a bit of a retcon with Origins and like I don't know. When I first played the first Assassin's Creed, I always liked that it was so simple and like you could play the game and like the whole game was about you identifying your target, finding a weak point for your target, and killing your target. The more you put into assassinating your target, the easier it was, and the less time you put into it, the harder it was. And that just didn't stick throughout the series. And now, Origins and now Odyssey kind of seem like a different game franchise altogether, in my opinion, at least. It does look good. I'm not saying it doesn't. It just doesn't look like an Assassin's Creed game.
Okay, and fair enough. I think that might be why I kind of like it a bit more because the Assassin's Creed games kind of got a little bit samey, and in some iterations they had like microtransactions for like no good reason, but that's getting into a whole other can of worms that we're not going on today. But like the real thing is, I hope they take away the focus because of the sort of like playing Assassin's Creed, like that whole animus thing, like how it's like actually,
Eventually
like,
I feel like they'll get rid of it, but there's still remnants. It's not like it's the main focal point of the games, which is like you said, like it's very opinionated. I think that part's fine as long as it's done well. Assassin's Creed was an interesting take. I really controversially liked the Division 2 trailer.
Really?
Yeah. I thought it looked pretty nice. Like it was like obviously it had scripted dialogue of like what was going on, and I was like, yeah, it makes sense of why they would make it scripted though. Like they can't really put a situation like that into the game where it's like no one's like just swearing like, yeah, you're like yeah, mom, I'll be right there. Mom, it's my turn to use the Xbox.
Fuck, what game did they do that for? It was actually hilarious. Ghost Recon Wildlands. They did that last year, and it was like a similar thing, and it was just like the funniest thing ever. Did you play the first Division?
I did a little bit. I actually thought it was fun. But the second one looks like it's gonna like not have the same problems as the first one did. On release, the Division was really bad, but now I think it's in a good place. Which is
the game that had queue lines for quest givers?
Like, that was the beginning. They patched that out. Like I said,
okay.
it was terrible on release, but like, Um, that's typical like Ubisoft tactics though. Like they release an unfinished game and they finish it throughout its lifetime. Like look at For Honor. Right now it's in a great spot, but on release it was terrible.
Yeah, I still haven't given For Honor too much of a try just because of how mixed it was on release.
Mm.
Uh,
That's
but
Ubisoft
yeah.
games. Like look at Assassin's Creed, the one where there was on PS4 that was first released, and the glitches made the lips and the eyes only appeared.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Unity. It was,
Unity.
and then the other one was really good. That was
Syndicate?
no, Syndicate was like released afterwards. The
Yeah.
Rogue, Assassin's Creed Rogue. That one was really good. But
I
yeah,
didn't actually play that one.
it was all right.
It was like a spin-off, I know that.
The,
But
Ubisoft didn't actually have a lot of games announced. They more so like expansions, like Mario and Rabbids, like expansion with Donkey Kong. That was interesting. I thought that was pretty fun.
let's be honest, that game is basically XCOM rated E,
Yes.
and that game is actually fantastic. I'm not sure if you've played it, but that game is actually really fun.
Well, it's like if Nintendo's heavily involved in it, obviously it has to be good. Ubisoft be damned. Like, what are they gonna tell Nintendo? No, we're not gonna quality assure this game.
Yeah. Um, I was actually really surprised by Beyond Good and Evil because I played the first one and I really liked it. So I'm really glad it's getting like a second game after so long.
Yeah.
'Cause that game was actually like really, really good.
The only thing I can think about the other Ubisoft announcement was the Star Fox thing. This I think is a skin.
Yeah, I didn't really get it a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit strange, especially like I don't know, like just anything about Star Fox. Like my hopes have been shattered over the years. About that game.
Yeah, like that's been definitely an ignored franchise by Nintendo.
It's and even when they do try to not ignore it, you get stuff like Star Fox Zero, which
Mm.
had force gyroscopic controls.
Moving on to Bethesda. I think Bethesda on a mechanical level had the best conference by like pure how they announced games. It was right after another. Todd Howard had a lot of like good news and he was very positive. There was the whole like meme video which I thought was pretty funny. He was very self-aware, which was great.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And you know what? You can actually play Skyrim on Alexa.
Wait, that's legit?
Yeah, you can really do that. I was hanging out
no.
with Burns, and he's playing it, and he's just like the entire time, just like, Alexa, where am I? You're next to a lighthouse. Go to lighthouse. Going to lighthouse. And it was really
It's like
funny.
an old text-based adventure.
I was so happy about that, and I was like, now give me my Skyrim fleshlight. Know what I mean?
So yeah, with Bethesda, yeah, they had a lot of like games we kind of like. So they had a lot of games that were announced that got surprised by. I think like the main one. Oops.
Personally, I think the biggest surprise was a new IP that they're introducing for the first time in like a decade. The
What? Rage?
the
Or not?
the space one was it Starfield?
Starfield?
Starfield.
Starfield?
Yes,
Oh yeah.
I'm very excited about that. I know they were obligated to talk about the card game Elder Scrolls Legends. I was still like, that's whatever.
Yeah, you're past in my opinion, you're past the Hearthstone
Yeah.
rage, and like that game has been in the works for like a while,
Mm.
hasn't it? Like, I don't know why. I don't know anything about like game design, but that game like was announced like it was announced with Fallout 4, wasn't it? Like 2 years ago.
I believe so. Honestly, though, you're putting your eggs in a basket that shouldn't exist. Like some people might like Legends, but at the end of the day, like what kind of card game even is it? Like I might be
Yeah.
totally ignorant to it, but I played my fair. You and I have played our fair share of card games, and like we know healthy mechanics and unhealthy mechanics, and Elder Scrolls just seems like Legends just seems like a unhealthy game on its own merits. The Blades one was pretty interesting, but that's because it was probably a beta for another for that PSP game I heard a while back. But like they probably transitioned it to being the mobile game.
It just seems like it's, just trying to use the Elder Scrolls name to make a quick buck, honestly. And
I agree, and I disagree. It seems like they're just trying to hey, we've been working on this and we couldn't, for the life of us, make it a full fledged full release game. So, but it's still something there, so they're releasing it as a mobile game.
yeah.
Uh,
I'd just rather the resources be personally I'm not into the whole mobile gaming besides Fire Emblem Heroes, but I think the resources they spend on that game could probably be better spent on other stuff. Elder Scrolls Legend, I can get why that exists. Elder Scrolls Blades is something that I don't believe I don't get why they're making it besides try to grab people on. I guess since mobile games are a lot of them are becoming big, you have Fate Grand Order and some other games, but it's a different kind of game. Wait, does that mean they're gonna make a gacha game?
I was very excited to hear about the Doom sequel, Doom Eternal.
Yes, I was really happy. Oh my god.
The Doom 16 was very out of nowhere. When it was released, it was it totally changes the formula on shooters, because a lot of shooters end up being hide behind cover and wait for an opening. In Doom 16, it rewards you to go headfirst into a fight, and I like that.
It actually felt like you were playing the original Doom if it was made this day and age.
Yeah,
and that's really good. And speaking on older games, Quake Champions is still it's free if you.
Yeah, it's free. I don't know how long it's gonna be free though. I don't know if it's gonna be permanently free. Not interested in that. It looks like it's an attempt to get into the esports scene again, but it looks a little dated and unfun, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The Elder Scrolls 6 announcement, we knew that was coming.
Yeah, he even said a while ago, yeah, it's in the works, but it's just not coming out anytime soon.
It's fine. I don't know why people are getting. I've heard people were getting upset about the whole announcement of Elder Scrolls 6 rather than a release date for it. It's they're working on this after another game, which is already just started, which is Starfield. They're making in the Elder Scrolls 6 after Starfield.
Yeah,
and I'm can you wait?
Yeah, and the thing is too, honestly, I'm a huge fan of Elder Scrolls. It's one of my favorite game series. But the thing is, I'm willing to wait for it as long as it's good. I'd like it to be maybe have some of the older mechanics, I say older mechanics, but from Oblivion and Morrowind, at least classes, birth signs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because
I honestly I hope it's less like Skyrim and more like Oblivion. I really loved Oblivion. I thought that was my favorite but Elder Scrolls game. But from an aesthetic point, my favorite's Skyrim. But from a gameplay standpoint, I'm not the biggest Skyrim guy.
Yeah, I like the combat in Skyrim, and I
always get in an Arkham Razor situation with Skyrim. I'm always don't be a rogue with a bow and arrow. Don't be a rogue with a bow and arrow. Don't be a rogue. Fuck. Yeah. God.
Don't be a sneaky archer. But this fight in melee could be a lot closer if I picked a couple of these guys off.
Oh God! Yeah. I finished the Thieves Guild. God damn
it. Yeah, but I'm excited. People are speculating where it might be, in the world and stuff like that, and that's always fun.
Now let's get to the real announcement. Fallout 76.
You mean the Prey DLC? Come on,
Prey DLC
was good.
Yeah, you right.
Prey was fantastic.
That video wasn't cringy at all. You right.
Listen.
It looks good.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was going to come. I think that what they're doing is Prey is pretty good, and it's like this new game. It's pretty all right. But
Are they gonna bring back like the Space Indians again?
Space Indians.
Like from the first one.
Fallout 76. I am pretty excited about because I would love to just play it with the boys, the Funky Bunch.
Yeah.
Nick squared in the Funky Bunch. I think it's amazing that you could either all team up or like you guys can each be looking for nuclear codes. That's awesome. I love that. Yes, give that to me.
Yeah, there's some stuff with it like I'll be honest, these are just from the 100% like the E3 standpoint. I think it looks like really good. I'm a big Fallout fan. I actually really like Fallout 4, even though some people think it's trash. I think the game is actually really fun. Maybe not the best Fallout game.
I don't know if it's going to be a main series Fallout game. I don't know if it should be, if it's going to be like the direction it's heading in.
Well, they said it's happening like right after like the like vaults open. So like the thing is about that is like there isn't like thinking about that there isn't gonna be like a lot of settlements, and that means there's might not be a lot of like NPCs and stuff like that. And that was always like my like the thing I liked about Fallout. It's not about like herder post-apocalyptic. It was about like rebuilding after the apocalypse. You got all these factions that are like building the world again.
I like the opening where it's just, hey, enough time has passed, get out into the world. It's not like you're the chosen one, you have to save everyone. You have to go on this like
you're not looking
odyssey.
For anyone anymore.
Yeah, like that's my favorite thing in games is world immersion. Like I'd have no problem with being the chosen one in a game. I don't have any problems with that. I do love when you're just like a regular person and you kind of have to go out and make a name for yourself in the game in an RPG.
Yeah. Going back to what we were talking about, Elder Scrolls, I think that's why I didn't like get invested as much into Skyrim, because like by like the third quest I'm already this like chosen hero. Where in like
I didn't like that.
I was just like some fuck with a halberd. Like who cares about me?
Like Skyrim was that really annoyed me when you were like a dragonborn and you were like sent up a mountain and everyone's like, this is so treacherous, but here I am with a horse going up the mountain, and I was like, okay. And then but yeah, 76 looks great. I'm totally excited to play it with some friends, and really hoping that maybe to me the only bad thing about that was
the always online.
No, actually it was the just knowing the elitists that are going to be on there. That's just from a personal standpoint.
Oh my god, yeah, the Fallout community can get pretty bad with that. Sorry to like offend anyone, but yeah, the whole like I agree with you. New Vegas is like the best Fallout, but chill.
Rage 2 looks good.
Everything Bethesda pumps out is complete dog shit.
Yeah, I like 2 points I want to hit on is Rage 2 and Wolfenstein Youngbloods.
Rage 2 I was not expecting, actually, because I thought that game actually...
It looks good. It looks really good. I haven't played Rage 1, but everyone tells me that Rage 1 was really good, and Rage 2 looks really good.
It was good.
My opinion of it is it looks really fun. Makes me want to play the first one, try it out. I am not excited for Wolfenstein Youngbloods. It does not appeal to me, honestly. I don't know if that was just because there was no gameplay trailer, or if like it looks like it's kind of like out there now, kind of like jumping the shark. It just what it just looks like to me, which is like, oh, but it's supposed to be over the top and this and that. Yeah, but things over the top can jump the shark all the fucking time.
Yeah, I'm excited for it just because I like the Wolfenstein series, but it does seem like it's a bit like left field, honestly. Like,
yeah,
I'm not sure how I feel about it. I'm not like, maybe this is just my optimism putting in. I don't think it was necessarily bad. I'm just like, I wasn't really as excited as I should have been for a
Mm.
new Wolfenstein.
Um, moving on from Bethesda, which I think again I will say the last thing my point about Bethesda is it wasn't my favorite, but I think on the merits of what a conference should be, it definitely was like a like contender for the best. Um, I want to jump into the three big boys now. Microsoft, then we'll do Sony and Nintendo. Um,
All right,
uh,
where do we start with Microsoft?
oh my god, it was pretty like it was like a roller coaster of emotions for me. Like almost nothing is gonna be like exclusive to Microsoft, so they're going by like the few they're going to have and like a few big name drops. So why not just start with the biggest thing from Microsoft is the Master Chief thing, Halo Infinite.
Oh, the Halo Infinite.
Yeah. As someone who's never played
not-
the Halo games, why don't you tell me about it? About Infinite. What is it? Look good?
Honestly, like the thing about it is, I'm very opinionated about Halo. It was the reason I bought an Xbox originally, and it was, well, I was a little kid, so asked my parents to get me an Xbox, and it was the reason why I got a 360 over the PS3 until like I got a PS3 like many years later.
Yeah.
The thing about the Halo series, 4 wasn't that bad. Four was okay. It like its story was actually pretty good. The gameplay, it was all right, and just the newest Halo recently was not the greatest. It's just like the games have gone so like downhill, like just like you can tell the series should have ended, and then when they changed hand, they left Bungie with 343 Industries, I think
Yeah.
their name is. You can tell like they're just running off the like steam of the series.
Well, you know my opinion about sequels. I think sequels, like almost for the most part, should not even exist. I think that the whole like concept of a sequel is inherently lazy.
Yeah.
There's just because like a sequel can be good, leaves off like situations like this where they go off way too long on tangents with games.
And I agree with the tangent thing, but I disagree with your stance on like, sequels inherently are lazy, because I believe adding something to like the previously established world is good, especially this is more maybe of a narrative thing. But it definitely has to contribute something to the world or to the game. Improve on the old game.
Well, that's how
rather-
it should be. Like, just because that's how
Right.
something should be. Like a lot of people look at something when I say like fundamentally and inherently. I mean, I don't mean like it can't be good. Obviously, they can be good. But if like you take like like a movie, and like you in Hollywood especially today, and they know it's going to do really well. They usually try to either leave the movie open-ended, or they'll intentionally cut into the movie and then edit it so it's like can be spread out through different movies. When I say it's inherently a lazy idea, I mean it leaves room for people to take advantage of that and slow things down. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
make like instead of one amazing movie with no filling, you get 3 subpar movies with a lot of filling. You know what I mean?
But I'd agree. I'd say in a sense that as technology and like resources and like money, like stuff like that goes into it, from a business standpoint, it some cases impractical to make like a one big game.
Yeah. It's one big game's fine. It's great. I just think that when you talk about a business standpoint, that's great. You know, like I'm all for the free market and capitalistic views where like that free market decides what like they want. Hey,
Yeah.
we love this first Adam Sandler, give us a second one. Um,
uh,
but at the end of the day, where's the artistic integrity?
I think you're misinterpreting my point. My point is like maybe like the company, you know, you need to release games to like obviously. The thing is, yes, like it might seem like a bit lazy, but like the point I'm trying to make is like maybe they can't do that one
Yeah.
huge game, so they need to release it in smaller parts, like honestly, like look at like the first three Halos. Oh, well, you didn't really play them, but honestly, each one as they were released, they didn't really ride off each other's success. Yes, the first game was fantastic and it definitely helped the sales of two. But the thing is, like, each one improved on each one.
Well,
And,
yeah,
like,
that's how it should be. Like,
yeah, and what I'm saying is, like, if imagine if it was just made, like, one big game in between, they wouldn't have the money to introduce like a lot of the mechanics
yeah.
in three,
Well,
two, like you know, equipment in three, like
I,
the
I
two. Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
just saying like you're right. I think we're like on a base level we're both right. Where you're saying like if the sequel is absolutely necessary and like you shouldn't if you can't fit it in the first game, make a second one. That's fine. I agree with that. You know, and we're like I agree too. I'm just saying like um when the sequels become like you know it's
When they overstay their welcome,
yeah,
basically.
yeah. Um,
Okay, that I can agree with.
moving on, we have a lot of sequels actually announced from Microsoft. Uh,
It's like your nightmare.
we have Gears 5. Like, yeah, I've been
I
I just nothing really to say about
another
that.
game that's another game that's another series that probably should have, you know, it
Just
did end.
yeah, Just Cause
It did end.
4. I know a certain guy who's gonna really happy about that.
Yeah,
He
and I know.
he really loves that series, which it looks fun.
I didn't like Just Cause 3 though, so I'm not as hyped as I should. But
Yeah.
I bought that game on midnight release, and you know I actually returned it and put it back to my I put it towards my Xenoblade X complete edition, which was
I
probably
was very both happy and upset about the announcement for Devil May Cry 5. Um, it's to me the series like 4 was Nero's part was great, and then you play as Dante, and Dante was very underwhelming. In fact, disappointing. And then
this game's all about Nero though, right?
it looks like it, but they did show Dante at the end. Um,
Okay.
what I saw but like when they came out with DMC, I really liked that, and I'm not a man who likes reboots. I don't. Again, yeah, I know. I don't like sequels and I don't like reboots, but I thought this one was pretty necessary. It was a different Dante from a different time. The Don.
Let's be honest though, like the storytelling and just like the
Well, yeah, storytelling
terrible.
it's generally terrible. But at the same time, the character of Dante, he's a remnant of the past, and then they made him a Dante of modern times, and I don't know why people didn't like it because that's generally what people think is cool. You know, like he's supposed to be cheesy cool. You know, he's supposed to be like the guy who's just like if you show this to like a friend of yours, you're like, yeah, that's cool, I guess.
Yeah, but you gotta like look at it like in the way of like he used to be cheesy cool in the way like I remember the scene in 4 where like he made that like heart with the like I forget what was
Yeah,
the spears or
he's
whatever.
like breaking the fourth wall essentially with all his like what he's doing.
Yeah, and he has like a rose in his mouth and he does a clap. But in DMC, it just like he tried he was just said like he just cursed a lot and which I can respect that.
I don't know. This is where I disagree, and like I'm probably in the wrong. Like I think that from a gameplay standpoint, first of all, it was very tight. The combat felt.
Oh yes, definitely. I agree with you from like a gameplay standpoint. That game was actually really fun.
Yeah.
The combos just it felt really satisfying.
Yeah. And then you get to the character design. I understand why people might not like him visually, but at the same time, I liked I really liked the direction they were going with him in that game. And from a story standpoint, the dialogue standpoint, I enjoyed a lot of the dialogue. It was pretty like funny. It was hypey. I liked it. And when I saw the Devil May Cry 5 trailer, I was like, it didn't excite me as I thought it should be. Like, as I'm a big fan of the series though. Like Devil May Cry 1, 3, and DMC, I love. Half of Devil May Cry 4, I love. I hated Devil May Cry 2.
Where I'm not, actually.
What?
Where I'm not. Like, I'm not, like, a big fan of the series at all.
Now, the other sequels that we, Dying Light 2, a lot of people are I know a lot of people who were fans of the first one. They're happy about that. Did you play the first one?
Little bit. I watched more gameplay. Like I watched like some of our friends play it, than actually like getting a chance to play it. I don't really have too much of a. I don't have a strong feeling about one way or the other because I'll be honest. I'm still burnt out from the quote unquote zombie game epidemic.
Oh my god! I want to talk about the fucking cringiest game that was announced in Microsoft. The new Life is Strange game. Captain Spirit. I was laughing the entire time.
You didn't like the first one either,
I
right?
didn't like anything about Life is Strange. There's that clip of the chick going, like she's like what? I think she's like you need a gun. Why do you need a gun? I should have a gun. It's men who shouldn't have a gun. And then it cuts to like it's edited to cut to the next scene where she's like shooting in the junkyard and she accidentally shoots herself. I shot myself. And then like the main character's like, stupid gun.
Stupid gun.
I was like, oh my god, this isn't real. It can't be real. This is David Cage. Did David Cage make this game? Oh my god. Oh.
Hey, he did okay with. Well, I haven't played enough Detroit Human to have a.
I heard it wasn't horrible. It wasn't like his usual contrived shit. But I used to really like David Cage games when I was like younger, when I didn't really understand narrative perspective. But like now.
And when you only played them the first time, and then you played them the second time to realize how stupid they are.
Yeah. The only really the other things that quickly look at for that new racing games, the sequel, Cuphead's.
Holy crap! When they were just all through Britain and trying to hype it.
It's like a free world. Then they announced the Cuphead DLC that looks obviously fun.
Yo!
Shout out to Shadman with his interpretation of the DLC.
Wait. Shad, no. Let's be honest though. I'm not sure if you played it. Ori and the Blind Forest, getting a second game. Holy fuck! That first game was actually fantastic.
It was amazing. Honestly, it's
the music.
Was it Microsoft that was bragging that they bought a bunch of independent studios? I feel like it was.
Yeah,
I think that Ori was one of the companies they bought. But it might be wrong.
Hey, let's be honest though. The real thing about
Battletoads, baby.
Hey, fuck right off. The real thing about Microsoft's press conference.
Jump Force.
Cyberpunk.
Oh, that's all right. I'm just kidding. It looked really good. I'm messing with you. It looked really good.
I don't even like the aesthetic of it, but it just looks so good.
It reminds me of Blade Runner, and I love dystopian futures like that. So I'm really excited to learn more about the game, which I know probably little to none of.
Yeah, honestly, it just I didn't really. I'm gonna be honest. I guess this game has been in the works for a while. I didn't actually know about it until this E3.
Mm.
And like, as someone who, to put it like bluntly, doesn't care for like, the future setting, like, I prefer Dragon Age over Mass
Yeah.
Effect. I prefer like, I guess like D&D over Shadowrun, stuff like
Mm.
that. Um, I was I'm delightfully excited for it. Like, it looks really good, and I can't wait to like try it.
Yeah. Um, I'm really excited for the new Metro game, Exodus.
Yes, the new Metro game.
I was it looked a lot like often like there's real time like modding to the weapons, and like you have to like do it like over and over like for different situations, and I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah,
A lot of people were going crazy for the new Crackdown game with Terry Crews. Pretty sure Terry Crews can sell literally fucking anything.
for Crackdown was like stupid fun
Yeah.
too. Like, honestly, like those games were so fun. Like, yeah, they're not. Well, the first one was good. The second one wasn't great, but it's still fun.
Yeah.
Like, if you just want to like, oh man, I only have like a couple of hours to like play a game. I don't want to like get really invested. I want to just like have fun for a few hours. It's a good game to play.
Yeah. I was they showed the Frozen world for Kingdom Hearts 3, and I was very underwhelmed. I'm actually
I think we should save that for Sony's.
Sony's all right.
Personally.
But yeah, Microsoft was like everything they revealed is none of them's gonna be like 90% of that's not gonna be exclusive. So,
Yeah.
I would say it's pretty underwhelming as far as the conference goes.
Yeah. In a way, I suppose. Some things I'm excited for. I'm actually really excited for the Tales of Vesperia remaster.
Yeah.
I love the Tales of game. You know that about me. Man, I guess I'm a weeb when it comes to JRPGs, but whatever.
That's all right.
The thing is, yeah, I'm really excited for it. I'm surprised it's getting a HD remaster over some of the earlier games that definitely deserve it more in a way.
Yeah. No, that's understandable. Remasters, I don't necessarily know what drives their decision. I don't know if like I'm getting to the point where I feel like it's just they like one guy in particular is like, "Hey guys, I think we should remaster this game. Why should we remaster it? I don't know, some fans like it. Okay, we should do that." That's what it feels like.
I like it in a way because sometimes those games become hard to access. But this is not one of those games. This is a game that's relatively easy to get your hands on still. Like, even like the original Tales of Vesperia. Like, if they like made HD remasters of say like let's say like this is going off a little bit off, but like let's say if Sony were to like do a remaster for Xenosaga, or Nintendo would for like Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. Both of those games are upwards of like $80 to $100 to get. So, and they Xenosaga, I believe, is on I'm not sure if it's on like PSN for any of the systems. I know Path of Radiance is not, and like the thing is like accessibility is really important when it comes to video games, especially in this day and age. A lot of us, we want to play like games from when we were younger, and like we don't necessarily have like the way like a means to get them, especially where they're so hard to come by, and we might not have the system anymore. So I believe that's a good way to do a remaster. But when it's a game that came out I believe it came out less than 10 years ago. I could be wrong on that. It can't be more that many more than 10 years ago.
It could be like a multitude of reasons for their decision making. I have no idea.
Like you can just go into the bargain bin in GameStop and find it for like $5.
Yeah.
Like, the game is good. The game is really good. Don't get me wrong, but like, why though? Why are you paying $40 for a game you can just get for $5?
It's stupid. Yeah. I am really excited to talk about Sony's coverage. I think I loved it. I'm so excited, actually. I want to talk I want to go slow and talk about the smaller stuff. The new expansion for Destiny 2 looks pretty interesting, more interesting than Destiny 2 was as a whole.
Ooh.
They killed off. Spoiler alerts for anyone who didn't see the conference. It starts off with Cade 6 getting shot in the head. And it looks interesting. Might get me back into the game. I haven't played it since it was released for yeah.
It's more grindy than the first game, right? And that's saying something.
Yes and no, but like I did play I played the first one when you could get it on a discount with all the expansions for like $40. So I was like, I didn't have the stigma that a lot of people had like when they bought it.
Yeah,
for max price.
You played it when I played it. Like,
yeah.
Our limited viewing of like when it was like on.
But
watching our friends play it.
I might play it when this expansion comes out.
Okay.
I do want to talk about this new IP that they announced called Control.
Well, I just want to say like because we're probably gonna skip over this. Is there anything you're getting from the new Call of Duty besides the fact that they don't know how to do Roman numerals?
I'm actually like, and this is probably a controversial point. I think that if any company would make a good battle royale game, it would be COD.
I can see that.
As much shit as COD gets, they're at least they have some quality assurance. First of all, secondly,
some.
Some. But at least I've heard the map design and like the weapon design's pretty alright for a lot of the COD games. But again, I'm not looking forward to it at all. Pretty much brushing it over.
I just wanted to make the joke.
Yeah. Control. Control looks really interesting. I didn't know really anything from what they showed me except like she has a gun that breathes, and
that's creepy, man.
Yeah, like when guns don't just shoot themselves. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Guns do kill people.
It had like a bunch of these like physics based effects that make me really interested in checking it out. Apparently it's made by the same people who made Max Payne, Alan Wake, and Quantum Break. So like at least it'll be like original concepts in it, and I'm pretty excited.
The Max Payne games were pretty good. So
I should have started with the Kingdom Hearts 3. They announced the Pirates of the Caribbean world in the Sony
I guess
conference.
We could talk about like all of like Kingdom Hearts, like all the stuff we found for it.
Well, yeah, I don't think they did they announce it for Nintendo?
I don't think it's going to Switch, so we could just like put it out now.
Yeah.
I suppose.
The more I see this game, the less I'm interested in it, and I don't want that to sound jaded or cynical. I just think it's hasn't really done anything for me. I'm like, okay, you're going to these worlds.
You're not too invested on Kingdom Hearts.
No, I'm not. I actually tried to like really be excited for it, but the more I see, less I'm into it. I'm
not gonna lie, as someone who likes everything about the games besides the story, I am extremely excited for the games. The fact, like, I'm not sure, did you ever see how the Pirates of the Caribbean world looked in the second game?
I don't remember it, honestly.
It was so funny because they made like, I hate this term, but like hyper realistic, like they looked like people, like what Johnny Depp, Jack Sparrow, like it looked like him. It looked like exactly like it looked like you were playing like a fucking like some sort of like realistic like fantasy game, and then you just have Sora who still looks like fucking like Final Fantasy fanfic character with his fucking big ass shoes, and then you got Donald Duck next to him, and it just doesn't blend together well. Where it actually looks like it like put them in a similar art style, and it looked like appearance wise really good. That being said, we haven't seen a whole lot of like new mechanics or gameplay.
I've seen some gameplay footage of it, and it looks pretty like all right.
Yeah.
like we've seen like gameplay, but we haven't seen like, I guess, anything new that they're bringing to the table. I suppose with the game, besides the new world, motherfucking Mike Wazowski, the Monsters Inc. world, but
Yeah, that looks pretty funny. Jumping into a highlight of Sony was Last of Us 2. And this was really interesting because, like, I thought this was, like, a really cool thing Sony did. They had a separate venue for this announcement, and they had this guy come out with I think it was a banjo, and he's, like, playing the theme for The Last of Us. And I was really tight, and I was like, I wish they played it with the trailer, if I'm going to be completely honest. The gameplay, if it's half as fluid as it's like presented to us in the trailer,
oh my god,
it looks seamless.
Looks so clean.
Yeah, it looks seamless, and I'm like, Naughty Dog has yet to release an unpolished game, in my opinion. From Crash Bandicoot to Jak and Daxter. I don't get me started on Jak and Daxter 2, but
Are you still having trouble?
no,
with
I beat Jak 2 and Jak 3. So I'm done with the series. I haven't played racing, and I won't play.
No,
racing.
you gotta play Jak X Racing.
I'm calling the cops. But yeah, like, and then like Uncharted and the first Last of Us. Every game they've released has been amazing, and like, from a narrative perspective, I really want to see what happens with Joel. Even though I'm not that interested in Ellie. It looks really good.
I fucking hate Joel, so
I guess we're looking at different, like, say, for two different things.
no, it's not like I think like Joel's like a bad character or anything. I just fucking hate Joel.
Yeah.
Like, I actually think he's a terrible human being.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that could be like on for like.
Yeah, I think we can talk
day,
about that
but-
another time. Like, Last of Us can get its own fucking episode, because I have a lot to say about that. Because I was like, it was like a very sleeper game for me, and then when I played it, I was like, oh wow, it feels nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really a highlight for me. It's really like one of the biggest like things for Sony's conference, and it only gets, in my opinion, bigger from here, because like right off the bat, FromSoft. This is something why I didn't really talk about a game that was announced on Microsoft. I'm gonna get that after this game. The new VR game from Software. It's called Duracine, or it's French. I don't know the correct term, but it's weird. I don't know what it's about. It looks pretty interesting, and I'd really like to play it.
The trailer was pretty like scarce, wasn't it? Like,
It was pretty scarce, but that's from Software to a T. When they release something that they're excited about, like, they want to like give us as little information as possible. Now, the second game. This is the game that like that started like we started seeing a trend in the conference. Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice.
Yeah.
I was now, as excited as I sounded, underwhelmed. I was underwhelmed by the trailer, because it looked like a lot of people are upset that it's not a Soulsborne game, and to me, I'm okay with that, because not every game has to be a Soulsborne game. They've made other games like Armored Core. They made
and fuck, Armored Core.
Yeah, they made plenty of games.
John can vouch for that.
It's, it looks fine. It looks tightly mechanical.
I think the thing and that reason people are disappointed about that is because it was kind of like teased in like Bloodborne with like the Far East, or like the Eastern Hunter or whatever, and like the thing is, people were thinking, oh, it has to be like a Soulsborne game, when honestly, like, it's not necessarily one. And if you want like a Soulsborne samurai game, you got Neo 2.
Yeah, which is a great segue, by the way. Neo 2 like built its reputation. So out of Sekiro and Neo, I like, as far as samurai games go, or an Eastern game, Neo 2 is right now winning it for me. Even for the next game I want to talk about, Neo 2 looks. It was just a title card, but from what I played in the first one, I beat the first one. I played a lot of it. put a lot of hours into it, and it's amazing. It's a lot of fun, and I wouldn't compare it to Dark Souls. I'd compare it to Bloodborne because, unlike Dark Souls, Bloodborne rewarded you for being aggressive, and that was the same with Neo. It had the most diverse gameplay in like
with the stances.
yeah,
and stuff
the
like
stances and your builds. You know, you could be like a shinobi, you could be a samurai, you could be a ninja, you can do all this and that, and it was impeccable, made by a small team. That game was made by a small team. If you want to play an amazing Souls-like game, you gotta check out Neo. Like,
Neo is really good. Like, seriously, if you haven't played it yet, you owe yourself to playing it. It is a good game.
Now,
like, even honestly, even if you don't like the whole like Souls style games, that game is still fun.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. I highly recommend it. Now, there was a third samurai game or third Eastern game announced in the conference. I'm excited for it.
So excited! I am
Ghost
so excited, man.
of Tsushima looks fantastic. I'm a film buff, and I've watched so many old Eastern movies that
it's what I did in tech school. Fuck, it was so fun. Like, Go ahead.
It looks exactly like right from a samurai movie, like a classic standoff. You know, like you have stances where you instant kill someone. You have your duels to the death. You have your riding horseback. It looks phenomenal.
It looks like if you made like Sword of the Stranger, if you guys have seen that, into a video game, and like it looks so good. The gameplay looks so good. Like, you know, you got a bit of story in there. You know, it's just the amount needed to hype you up.
Yeah.
It showed the game's high points that we can assume, and like honestly, that was probably one of, if not the biggest, exciting thing I got from Sony.
If I had never played Neo out of all three of them, I would say Ghost won. But because I played Neo, it has that reputation on its back for me to be more excited for Neo 2 than Ghost. But Ghost looks phenomenal. It looks like, if it's like, same thing with Last of Us 2, if it's half as fluid as the trailer makes it out to be, then I am all for it. Moving on, kind of like one that was kind of pre-announced before the conference, but it's still worth talking about, is the Resident Evil 2 remaster.
As someone who doesn't like remasters, what do you think of it?
I think I want to
Well, this isn't really. I think the term remaster is a bad term.
It's
a
remake.
This is just like a.
If it's like the GameCube remake of Resident Evil 1, I'm very excited for it.
Even if it's like Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
Like,
when I played the first Resident Evil, like the original one, then I played the second one, it's night and day. The original Resident Evil 1 and original Resident Evil 2, night and friggin' day. Like, you play the second one and it's so good. There's like, I can't think of any part of Resident Evil 2 that becomes weak. 3 was amazing. 4 was amazing. 5 is just embarrassing.
It was fun with a friend. With the shitty AI, it made you buy it too.
I love the meme that it's. I love the meminess of it. 6 was just
the boulder punch.
6 was just an abomination. The GameCube remake for
the trailer was so good and it was so bad.
But if I had to say that, Resident Evil 1's remake is what I think a remake should be in a video game. I think Resident Evil 1 kind of blew it out of the park and kind of set the standard of what remakes should be. And if Resident Evil 2 is like that, then I'm excited for it. Especially with the resurgence of Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7 put the franchise back on the map.
Especially because they had so much new blood behind 7. Like, I recently learned about how many new people were on the team for Resident Evil 7, and they have hey, we realize it basically seems like, hey, this team doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Let's get some new blood in here, and I think one of them was actually George Romero. I think he.
George Romero is
7.
definitely like a good, like if they had him involved in it, that's really good. But Resident Evil 7, like the final act was kind of iffy, but it was so good. It like they took the PT concept and they fleshed it out into an entire game, and I loved every bit of the experience. But yeah, Resident Evil 2 remake, looking forward to it. Now, the next one I personally am very invested in. I pre-ordered the new Spider-Man game, and it looks so
good.
fun. It looks amazing, and I'm super biased because I love Spider-Man.
Yeah, I know you don't like it as much as people do, but you have to admit it does look a lot like 2 in a way.
For me, who's played like every Spider-Man game, it looks like it feels like a return to formula, where it's like you look at you play the game and you're like, okay, how could this is different from other like beat 'em ups or any like other action game because I'm playing as Spider-Man. Like the original Spider-Man 2000 and the sequel to that, like those are PS1 games. Those had really good feel. Yes, it does look like Spider-Man 2, but it looks like it's going to be its own complete like game feel, like with how like web swinging is, how like web play is, how the combat is. It looks like it's going to be very fluid. Everything, the gameplay I saw.
Honestly, like a little thing I wanted to note about it. Did you watch like how well like Spider-Man was animated, like when he was like swinging on his webs?
Yes.
Like honestly, like the game from like a visual points and like how much is going on with like the kinetic like stuff behind it looks really good. The game just like looks visually
it's as good
fantastic.
as like Insomniac's other games. Like they made Infamous, and Infamous was a lot of fun. And then they made Ratchet and Clank, obviously, and those are fun games. It's
You're talking about the reboot, right? Did they make the original ones?
Insomniac, yeah, they made the original ones, didn't they?
I'm not entirely sure.
All right, let's say they didn't make the original ones. Probably get our ass reamed for that.
The new one was good.
But yeah, the new one's really good. But yeah, Insomniac's developers who really care about their games, and they have experience making similar game types, and I'm really excited for it. I pre-ordered this special edition, and I can't wait to play it when it comes out. Now, I don't think there's a lot more to talk about except for the fucking best part of E3, Death Stranding. Oh, the more Kojima shows of this fucking game, the less I know about it, and that exhilarates me. Oh my god!
I still don't know what the fuck is going on. Man.
It looks like it's It looks like it's obviously it's like a sci-fi game. It looks like it's gonna have a lot of involvement with the babies, and it's gonna be a sneak game at some point. It's gonna be a free roam game, and a lot of people were like joking. Like, it looks like some sort of like courier game, but to me that just seems like it's gonna be the beginning part of the game. And what's going to happen is... what am I going to say? What's going to happen is something's going to happen, and he's going to transition into more of an action role. I just can't wait. I want to see more of this. Kojima's... I'm going to make a broad statement. I don't think Kojima's made a bad game, and I don't think this one's going to... I think this is going to be a knockout of the park. This is Kojima... Unchained without
Unchained.
Yeah. Kojima Unchained.
He doesn't have Konami holding him back.
I count 6 processor units. I count 2 consoles. But yeah, he this is with him without Konami breathing down his neck, and it looks fantastic. This to me was the best announcement. Well, not obviously it's not an announcement. It's more so more of the game. But this is the best part for me of.
I still don't know what's going on.
Norman Reedus and the Funky Fetus.
Did you see Platinum has a new game coming out too?
Do they?
Yeah, it's called. I think it's called Babylon's Wall. I think there wasn't a lot about it. It's an action game because probably, or at least it's probably an action game because it's Platinum.
Yeah, Platinum. That's good.
Yeah, 2019 release date.
I'll look into it. So we come to, as all E3s come to, the
end.
Nintendo E3, which is what a lot of people say is typically the best of any E3.
Well, that can vary because Nintendo likes to do their own Nintendo Direct.
I'll get to it when we get to our like final points. So this is more your field. Anything you want to like take initiative on this one?
Okay, so going forward, I am incredibly biased behind Nintendo.
Yeah.
I love Nintendo. However, I want to preface this with this year's Nintendo E3 thing. They didn't show a whole lot of big name stuff that we didn't already know about.
Yeah.
I'm starting with the bad stuff first.
Yeah, that's fine.
Most
Go any
of-
way you want.
Most, if not all of these games, the big name games that came out or that was announced, was stuff we already at least knew about.
Yeah.
However, and also, we didn't see any of what was some people's biggest thing about last year. I believe it was last year.
Waluigi.
Listen, Metroid Prime 4.
Oh yeah.
We didn't see anything on it.
Yeah.
And that disappointed a lot of people, me included. Like, I was really sad.
Did they?
I
I'm sorry. Did they say that they canceled it or something, or is it just
No, it's just it's just
in the back
they're
burner?
working on it. They just, maybe it's on the back burner because boy do they have a lot of stuff
Yeah.
coming out. So I want to start with the small stuff first. One of it is something that's kind of like flying under people's radar. Overcooked 2. Have you seen anything on the first Overcooked? I think it's not. I think it's on Steam as well. I might be wrong about that.
No, I haven't. I didn't even hear about that. Is it good?
Okay, so picture. Oh shit. Picture Gang Beasts. However, instead of like throwing people off of like stuff, actually, it's more like a cluster truck in a way. But instead of like doing like stuff like in Gang Beasts, like throwing people off and winning, you and your friends are trying to cook food. Just you have like all the ingredients. However, it's just on the wackiest maps. Like some of them are like you're on 2 like.
Oh, I think I've
trucks
seen.
going
I
down
think
a
I've seen
free-
gameplay of this like on like streams
Yeah.
and stuff. It looks fun. Yeah.
It's very fun.
I think it like is if it's getting more notoriety, like small games like that, that's good. Plus, you don't hear a lot of like third-party games on the Nintendo platforms getting a lot of attention.
And I'm glad about that because like honestly, the Switch is a good system for like fun third-party games.
Yeah, I
like
have
that.
my Switch right behind me, and like it's really good. I think Nintendo. The thing is, they're very safe bets when it comes to like anything. A lot of people like to criticize like their like the announcements for like the Wii U or the Switch, but
Let's be honest, the Wii U was kind of a, lack of better words, it was a bit of a failure.
it was
numbers-wise.
sales wise it was not great, but I personally loved the Wii U.
There
still
was a
play
lot
it.
of great games on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of really good games. Like you got like a lot of it might have been remasters. You have
Yeah.
Xenoblade Chronicles X. I'm totally biased. You got Wind Waker HD, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, another thing, I'm not sure if you know anything about this, but in one of the local arcades near me, we have Killer Queen, which actually it's an arcade game, right?
Yeah.
And it's actually a really fun arcade game. It's like a team-based thing. And like I'm glad it's coming to like home console because I'm pretty sure it's not on anything else that isn't that's a console. I think it's just in sort of arcades, and like the fact that like I can actually like play that at my house with like my friends is like fun. The game's fun. So you got your typical like other like third party like stuff. You got your Fortnite announcement if that's your thing. Like
Yeah.
um
Did you know
so
and it's a crazy amount of like it's the most played game like available right now. Like it's like so many people are playing it. I think it's
I wouldn't be
25
surprised
million
with the kind
daily.
I wouldn't be surprised with like the fall of League and how it's a free to play game and like it's kind of goofy.
Yeah.
It's just fun, honestly.
It'll age better than PUBG. That's for sure.
I agree. I agree. Especially with like art styles like that tend to age better than like realistic art styles.
Yeah.
Realistic art styles tend to fall out really quick.
Yeah. Plus,
So, oh god.
oh, I was gonna say like the small thing about PUBG is that like it's focused more on not being a competitive game than being a fun game, and Fortnite has the opposite reaction.
Yeah. So you got another thing. Paladins coming out.
Yeah.
Um.
We can like
You know.
just like glaze
Yeah.
over.
I'm just skimming over some other stuff. New playable characters for Mario Tennis Aces. The last Mario Tennis game wasn't the best, so
Yeah.
Project Octopath, or what is it? Octopath Traveler, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, Octopath Traveler.
The art looks nice for it.
Holy fuck, that game looks good. I played the demo. It's fantastic. It looks like an old, It looks like Bravely Default, but better. I liked Bravely Default. I have the second one like right here
Yeah.
on my DS. The game's good.
Yeah.
This looks even better.
It looks it looked like it from
Yeah. And it is. And it's. Oh my god, I can't wait. It's coming out this year too. I think it's like very like
yeah.
soon or relatively soon. I think it's third quarter at least. They have that new mecha game coming out. Damon Machina.
Yeah, that looks really fun. Isn't that the Is that a
There
remaster?
wasn't a lot of that. No, it's a new IP.
Oh, okay. Oh, it looks great. I'm actually looking forward to playing it. I saw a little bit of it. I didn't really get to see a lot of it. But yeah, I'm really surprised by like these new IPs coming out. Like I saw Killer Queen, obviously, Damon Machina, and with Octopath Traveler. Like a lot of these things, like it's really nice seeing Nintendo branch out. You don't see that a lot.
Yeah, I think it might have to do with their. I hate to say it, but their new president taking like a big like stand on opening up to other like developers, stuff like that.
Plus, the Switch just needs more games. It doesn't have a lot.
It's such a good system.
Yeah,
though.
it's gonna
It's
suffer
like
the same
adding
fate as the Wii U because the Wii U never got too many games.
But honestly, they're doing a good job about fixing that because they're adding games that will be good on it. Like adding Hollow Knight, which was also announced. Like that game is perfect for a Switch. Honestly,
I think they should open up more games on the eShop. They were for some reason very against opening games up in the Wii U and the Wii for download, which I'm like, come on,
I think they need to do because a big criticism with the eShop on like Nintendo systems is that there is no cloud sort of like memory.
Yeah.
Like when you buy a game, it's on your system.
Yeah.
Not on like your account. So like let's say for whatever reason your old system bites it, and you need to buy a new system. Well, sucks to suck.
Yeah.
It was on your old system. But anyway, that can be saved for like another day. Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Expansion. Yeah, you're really happy about that. I saw that. And my first thought was, yeah, it's Hunter.
So it's Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is tied with the first game for being my favorite game of all time.
And the first one being Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah, the first one being Xenoblade Chronicles. Yeah. So, and the fact that they're expanding on the antagonists
which are honestly the best part about Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Torna are great villains. They're great characters, and they're so fun too. Like they have really good personalities. Um, you know, I'll be honest. Like the main criticism about Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is the voice acting is fucking hilariously bad. Um, and also the I guess how to put it, the game especially with its humor is very anime, I guess. It's very like, and that's only a term you'd get if you like actually watched some anime, but it's very popular with like the sort of stuff in like typical anime. But anyway, going to the good things about Xenoblade, like, we got constant updates coming out. Especially, I was right about spoiler alert, I guess. The two characters from the first game, Shulk and Fiora, are blades in Xenoblade 2. They announced that. And Shulk has the Monado and Fiora has her daggers, which is weird because spoiler alerts for Xenoblade 1, it's not the mech on Fiora, it's her form before she died to Metalface. But honestly, like, it looks great. It's going more into like Torna, which is always good, and more Xenoblade 2 is fine by me. Like, I love that game.
Yeah.
Now for the game, I'm most excited for Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks great.
Oh my god, it looks so good. Did you hear the music?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Like, fuck, I must have played that trailer like at least like 50 times just to hear like the music and the voice acting. Like, Fire Emblem hasn't always had the best voice acting. Well, now that Shadow of Valencia came out, that changed. The voice acting became pretty good for the most part, because they changed it to be fully voice acted. Acted? I suppose that's a word. And honestly, like, we didn't get a lot of gameplay. People are like saying like what it might be about. People are saying, oh, you gotta choose between 3 different factions. It's like Fates all over again. And Fate's story is complete garbage. And you got the Fire Emblem community who's just like, well, it's not gonna be as good as the old game. So that's a whole other mess. But honestly, who's a diehard Fire Emblem fan, especially, like, I'm so excited for this game. It looks so good. The big little detail about it, actually. You watched the trailer, I'm sure.
Yeah.
When units are fighting, did you see how they kind of had their like soldiers around them?
Yeah.
Like, they had their own brigade. That's new, and like the thing about it is like, Fire Emblem has always been about like, wars and stuff like that, two like nations at war, stuff like that. But before it was just, you got like 20 fucks who just like, this is a battle. It's like 20 people versus 20 people. It didn't feel like a war. That's the thing. It just felt like a couple of guys versus a couple of guys. Now it actually feels like you have soldiers and like they were doing like formational stuff.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
To me, it feels like this is where Fire Emblem's getting like a lot of like more support. It's just being put in the front lines.
It definitely has. Ever since Awakening and Fates and the success of Heroes, Fire Emblem has been getting more and more steam, and also Shadow of Valencia.
Yeah,
that game.
It feels nice,
really
honestly. Like, I know a lot of people that really like it. Like a friend of ours, Nick, he's really into this series, and
he's the one who really, really got me into it too.
It's really good. It's really, really nice. I really like the permadeath system, and I think that more games should like be willing to put some risky shit out like that.
Well, you have the casual mode too. Which,
I'm not a big fan of that. I think that's fine, honestly, for casual players, but at the same time,
yeah,
I'm not a big fan.
I wouldn't play on it,
but like the thing about it is like I don't believe like there's to a degree I don't believe that setting like accessibility is a bad thing. Like games being open to playing like for people who, don't want to deal like they want to experience like the story of the game.
I guess this
And
gets back into the artist integrity argument, because I feel like if you don't want to make the game accessible to like a small, like a wider audience, where it's like, hey, we put a casual, we're not putting in a casual mode, but there's permadeath, then that should be like, it forces you to be a better player. I'm more all for a game making you respect it, making you respect like its rules.
See, I agree, but I also disagree where that should be the only way you can play it. By default, it should definitely be the classic game. Because that is the way Fire Emblem, at least I believe, Fire Emblem should be played. However, I also believe that having like an alternative mode. I don't believe having both is necessarily a bad thing. I think it's a good thing.
There should be some sort of like heavy incentive to play the regular mode. I think either you get some sort of like cheapened experience for the casual mode, like in Ghouls and Goblins, or like
well, the thing is, the experience you go through. I'm not sure how much you played a Fire Emblem, but the experience you go through of the nerves of like possibly losing a unit, because when they die and stuff like that, or until you reset like most people do. But anyway, like the thing about it is like those experiences and those stories you kind of get, oh my god, my unit just like my unit's at 2 health, but he just survived like 3 attacks coming at me. Like hearing stuff like that is like reward on itself. And
but that's not from that's not casual though. That's like the regular mode. What I'm saying is like casual mode, there should be like it should be like, this is probably like a very like callous thing to say. I think there should be a cheapened experience, like if you're playing casual
because
mode.
You wanted like an incentive to play like the harder,
like in Metal Gear Solid 5. If you want to play like a chicken, you get a chicken hat. Like,
okay, even if it was just like something like that, if it was something like that, I'd be okay. I don't think there's something mechanically that should change about
nothing mechanically should change about it, but like maybe like if you wanna like even making the game a little shorter in the casual, like I'd be fine with like hey, you want to experience the real ending of the game, you gotta play on the traditional format,
Maybe I don't like the idea of limiting the story though, especially where that's a big important part to Fire Emblem. But like I said, I think the reward of classic mode is the permadeath mechanic. I think that existing is the reward, like the heart pounding moments you get. But anyway, I think we're going a bit too long into this.
So yeah, there's not a lot of things left in the Nintendo category.
Oh boy, you're wrong. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, December 7th.
Will it finally like force people off of the fucking Melee?
People who play Melee, who I know, I'm heavily involved in the Smash scene in my local area. And people who play Melee are saying this game looks fantastic. It looks more aggressive. It looks, you have a lot more options, and like, you have like all the characters returning. Every single character to ever be released is coming back. And like that by itself is enough to make people.
I think honestly though, like in the fighting game community or the Smash community, they kind of let the Melee community force its way like into being the standard to play on, because I hear some complaints about Brawl and Smash 4, and I'm like maybe it's because I'm not a competitive like level of play, I've played enough though where I just don't feel a difference between Melee, Brawl, and Smash 4.
It might seem like that, but like when you actually like play it and see like things about it, especially Brawl. Brawl is a very slow game. Melee is very fast. Smash 4 has it's very defensive in its options. But like the real thing about it is like, how to put it. It's just how really it's the speed of it, and honestly, like Smash has been infamous with not wanting it to be like a sort of like competitive fighting game, which people try to force that, and like tripping and brawl was introduced to like kind of like tone that down actually, like the competitiveness, because the creator wanted it to be like a party game, which I have very disagreed opinions about that. I believe like people can enjoy a game in multiple ways, just like the whole classic and or classic and casual mode. I believe a game can be fun in different ways, like for different people.
Yeah. Um, personally, like you, yeah. The whole fighting game debate, whether or not like people, the creator, Sakurai has ability to say whether or not it's a fighting game. It's after a certain point, fans kind of almost control what it is.
That's why honestly, it seems like they're putting a lot of stock. They had the invitation pros, right? I think they are actually going to advertise it as like a competitive game now.
Yeah.
And honestly, I would be definitely okay with that. Like the thought of having like something on the level of the Capcom Cup from like Street Fighter. And Street Fighter 5 it's not exactly the best of games treated by the fans. But why didn't people just sit back and play like the older games, like what happened with Melee? It's because Capcom pushed the game forward. And they were always communicating with fans. And if they're willing to do that with Smash Bros. Ultimate, like I can't say anything but good things about what will come from it. You got the whole like argument between like fighting game communities, like, well, Smash 4 or I'm sorry, Smash isn't a fighting game. Yes, it is. If you actually think that, you're just have if you think it isn't, you just have like some sort of like ego that you don't play like Smash, and you need to like set a different thing.
Ultimately, like Smash was probably the biggest announcement. Well, not probably, was the biggest announcement for Nintendo from the widest spectrum of people. I saw it and I know the meme of Waluigi, but it looks like it definitely has its fair share of characters, more than any other fighting game excluding Mugen that I've ever seen.
Which let's be honest, like Mugen is more of a toolkit than a game.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
That's fair. But yeah,
Ridley though. He's not too big. We got him through the door. He's in, boy.
He's in. Now that we've got through the E3, our reactions towards it, I kind of want to talk about the conference as a whole and see like which one was victorious in our opinions, because that's a huge subjective thing, right? Like everyone has their own opinion about who actually wins. That's kind of like a recent thing too, like who wins at E3. I want to say, and I'm gonna say like I said it earlier. I think mechanically speaking, I think Bethesda had the best conference, but from like trying new things and the experience of a conference, and my favorite was Sony. I think Sony did the best. They experimented more than any other conference, and it was great. I loved it. What about you?
I think you know my vote goes to. Where I definitely agree Sony is a close runner-up And this is probably like my bias showing.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be honest, I'm a very biased person. Like, Nintendo is close to my heart. Holy, like I do have some complaints with Nintendo's press conference this year. Like I said, however, I still think what they showed blew my mind. As someone who's like a fan of like all these games, and also introducing this new Demon Machina or however Demon Machina, I was flabbergasted. Like I can't wait. Holy fuck. And I didn't get that hyped about any other one, so I can't really say in my heart that I put the others above it.
Yeah. I think that Nintendo was too safe. I think that's why I don't. I'm also biased. I'll be fully clear about that. I'm a Sony fanboy. I've been that way for a very long time, actually since I started gaming. But I will say, Sony like tried new things, and I think that's why it puts it a cut above the jib. A lot of people said it was like there was like awkward parts where like they were transitioning, and there's like, yes, that's gonna happen. That's what happens when you try something new.
Yeah, and like honestly, like the whole like thing is like, I don't know about you, but I don't give a fuck like how well like the people are on stage. I don't really watch that. Occasionally, I watch Todd Howard and hear what he says and stuff like that. But the real thing I look at is like the trailers and stuff like that.
Well,
that's what.
If we're talking purely the games, I stand by what I said. I think that Nintendo's incredibly safe. If they really want to like look at E3 and be like, "Hey guys, we need to like look really good this conference. We feel like the other like it's gonna be really good competition for the others." What we got? We got Mario, we got Zelda, we got Smash, we got. It's just, we know those are all coming, like we know it.
I suppose in a way, and that's like what I said. Like
safe isn't bad, but safe is expected.
Yeah, and that's why I said, like, remember when I started Nintendo? They didn't really surprise us with new items. What they surprised us with was how polished the stuff we knew was coming looks.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, like, their press conference was a Smash Pro. They're throwing around their weight, like, with this Smash, like...
Well, yeah, like,
pretty
and
hard.
that's why I think, a lot of people think Nintendo won just specifically just because of Smash, and I think, well, okay, you say that, I say it's too safe. I think they know the reaction. They knew there was the same exact reaction, I think, as when Smash 4 was announced, like how clean it was. It's on the Wii U. It's gonna have up to 8 playable like players. It's gonna be like all this, that, and the other thing. I just think if you were judging it solely based on the games, I would say like from new IP standpoint, again, stand by Sony, like Ghost, a lot of the other things they announced too, Control, the Resident Evil 2 remake, too many things that were just so nice to see. It was
I kind of get what you're saying. You were more like surprised. You put more stock into the like things you didn't hear about, because like that, and like I can see that like honestly, like we did. I don't think we knew about the Resident Evil 2 remake. At least I did. So
it was announced right before E3. Like a lot. It was leaked too. It wasn't like it was a official thing.
So I honestly did see that. So like when I saw that, like I was just, oh shit! Like, hey, my favorite Resident Evil is getting remade. Like, okay, you have my attention. But like the thing is, like, and like I said, this might be my bias showing. I value polish over the like sort of like surprise factor. Like And everything like Nintendo showed had, like, all the games they showed had polish behind it.
Yeah.
Yes, it might be safe, but I was impressed. Like I said, like, I was the most impressed with what they showed them, what as a whole, than what anything else can show. And like I keep saying, like, you know, Nintendo hypes me up, like, just their name. It gives me like some little tingly feeling in my heart. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if we have anything more to add about E3. It was a really good
You
year.
can let us know. Yeah, maybe you can let us know who you thought won in the comments below.
This is I'm Mike. This is Hunter, and this is the Joe Pizza Podcast. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.